Our group chose to evaluate Christianity and Judaism relating to food. Belief in a certain customs can add another layer of meaning to the food that people consume. We are going to compare and contrast Christmas and Hanukkah, Easter and Passover, Yom Kippur, and fasting in Christianity, and Rosh Hashanah and New Year's. Christmas is one of the most important holidays for Christians. It celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ, whom Christians believe is the Son of God. Christmas Day is celebrated on December 25th by Christians and non-Christians alike. Christmas is such a widely celebrated day, it is not only observed as a religious holiday, but it is considered a cultural holiday as well. The traditions associated with Christmas vary from household to household and country to country, but there is a universal theme of gift-giving, feasting, and coming together. Christmas meal, either on Christmas Eve or day, varies depending on the taste of the family, but can be ham, roast beef, or goose. Some people enjoy turkey as a centerpiece, although it is less common due to Thanksgiving emphasis on turkey. Side dishes served at this meal vary depending on region of the United States. Usually the side dishes will include a starch such as potatoes, yams, or high-carb foods like bread, rice, and pasta. The meal is most often followed up with a wide array of delicious desserts, including, but not limited to, pies, cakes, cookies, and puddings. In addition to this luxurious feast, many people enjoy going to church and participating in other holiday festivities, such as singing Christmas carols, sharing the company of your peers at a holiday party. Other traditions associated with Christmas include hanging lights outside, decorating a Christmas tree, and Santa Claus. Christmas is a lot like Hanukkah in that the holiday is centered around the religious belief and coming together with family to celebrate such beliefs. Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that celebrates the rededication of the Holy Temple. The Holy Temple, also known as the Second Temple, is located in Jerusalem. The temple was used as a place of worship for ancient Israelites and then later used for Jewish worship. Jewish people celebrate Hanukkah on the 25th day of Kislev. Kislev usually lasts for 30 days and takes place during the autumn months of the Gregorian calendar, sometime between November and December. Hanukkah is celebrated for 8 days and nights. A common icon for this holiday is the menorah, a candle holder with 9 branches. On each night of Hanukkah, a new branch is lit. Using the 9th district candle from the menorah called the shamash, meaning helper or servant. After lighting the menorah, it is common for Jewish families to take part in a game called dreidel. The dreidel itself is a spinning top with 4 sides. The engravings on the dreidel mean a great miracle happened there, referring to the miracle of the small amount of oil that lasted for 8 days in the Second Temple after the Jewish victory of the tyrant king. Because of the miracle of the oil, it is also customary for Jewish people to consume oily foods during Hanukkah. Traditional foods include homemade donuts, latkes, brisket, short ribs, noodle kugel, and anything fried or baked in oil, preferably olive oil. For Jewish people, Hanukkah is a time to give thanks and celebrate their religion. It is a time where family comes together to take part in special traditions such as lighting the menorah, playing dreidel, exchanging gifts, and having great feasts of indulgent foods. In many ways, Hanukkah and Christmas are very much alike. Another Jewish holiday is the Passover, also known as the Pesach. This Jewish festival is usually held in the months of March or April and lasts about 7 to 8 days. Passover is known as a holiday where Jews get together to commemorate the liberation of their ancestors' slavery in Egypt back in about 1300 BCE. They also celebrate their God's charity in helping their ancestors escape and praise Moses for leading their nation to freedom. Symbol for this holiday is the Seder plate that holds ritualistic reminders allowing Jews to humble themselves as they eat the specific foods of matzo, charoset, eggs, lettuce, bitter herbs, and other vegetables. Matzo, one of the refreshments used as a spiritual message during the festival, comes from the nickname of the Passover holiday, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. This title comes from the event of Pharaoh freeing the Israelites and leaving in such a hurry they could not wait for the dough to rise. To commemorate this event, people of Jewish belief will rid their house of any leaven, throwing away any foods containing it, cleaning their house thoroughly of any breadcrumbs, and only eating matzo, a flat and unleavened bread, during the Passover holiday. Often, doing all this symbolizes cleansing the soul of leaven. Believers in Judaism will relate the food to sin and only stick to clean foods, allowing this ritual of sweeping the house of leaven to be brought to a personal level. 3 more examples of Seder food being used as a reminder are the dishes maror, chazeret, and salt water. These 3 items are to prompt those participating in the Passover to remember all the hard things the past Israelites had to go through. Mar, a bitter herb that is to symbolize the unfortunate event of being sold into slavery by the Egyptians. Chazeret, a sweet salad made of apples, nuts, cinnamon, and wine, represents the martyr being used by the Hebrew slaves to make bricks. The salt water, often used as a dip for the boiled egg, is to remember the tears the Hebrews shed during their time in slavery. All of these are to help the Jewish people remember that their adversity, struggles, and troubles can be helped through God's will. On the side of the Seder plate, wine or grape juice is provided. Throughout the ritual, 4 glasses of these liquids are partaken to represent the 4 biblical promises of redemption. These promises are God taking the Israelites out of the hands of Egyptians, being rid of slavery. Even though all these foods are eaten, the lamb shankbone and the roasted egg are not. Because the lamb shankbone is to represent the lamb sacrifice during the last of the plagues, or in some cases, it symbolizes God's outreached arm. The egg represents renewal and springtime. These dishes are considered to be very sacred and are not eaten in this ceremony. Although the Christian Easter is almost like the Passover holiday because in both beliefs they celebrate rebirth in springtime, they are different in the foods they partake in. Christians will remember resurrection of Jesus Christ with eggs and lamb. Easter to people of Christian belief is a time to get together with family and to reflect on everything Jesus Christ went through, much like how people of Judaism take the time to remember God and their ancestors. Yom Kippur, also known as the Day of Atonement, is defined by love and forgiveness and is widely considered the most important Jewish holiday. Yom Kippur is one of the high holy days celebrated by the Jewish community and is celebrated on the 10th day of Tishrei. During Yom Kippur, Jews refrain from work of any kind, spending the majority of the day fasting, praying, and attending services. Fasting is a central practice of this celebration to foster a reunion with God. The requirement to practice self-denial is interrupted by the Talmud to mean the following 5 prohibitions, which include eating and drinking, bathing, sexual relations, applying lotions and perfumes, and wearing leather shoes. Much like the Jewish religion, Christians and followers of Christianity fast as well, but biblically fasting in Christianity is only abstaining from food, drink, sleep, or sex to focus on a period of spiritual growth. Christians believe the purpose of fasting is to take their eyes off of the things of the world and instead focus on God. Each branch of Christianity does fasting differently. For example, some Christians believe every Wednesday and Friday is also considered a fast day, except those that fall during the designated fast-free weeks. Unlike Jewish religion, for them, fasting is not required in Scripture, but is yet highly recommended. Roman Catholics have a 40-day fast period during Lent, a spring period before Easter and during Advent, a period before Christmas. For Roman Catholics, fasting is the reduction of one's intake of food to one full meal, which may not contain meat, on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. Eating solid food between meals is not permitted, and fasting is required of the faithful between the ages of 18 and 59. They believe it teaches control of fleshly desires, penance for sins, and solidarity with the poor. The Lenten fast prepares the soul for a great feast by the practicing of austerity. The Good Friday fast commemorates the day Christ suffered. On a different note, for thousands of years, people have celebrated their own version of the new year. There has always been a theme of new beginnings, whether it's winter turning to spring, celebrating the birth of Jesus, or a time of sacrifice and pondering. The Jewish tradition of Rosh Hashanah, which means head of the year, and the New Year's tradition celebrated by Christian religion incorporated this idea of a new beginning. Both religions look to the coming year with a sense of hope and expectation, and both use food as a medium to convey these desires. There are a few similarities in their approach to using food as a symbol. Jewish symbolism is rich and strictly guided. Many Christian traditions are vague and differ greatly across sects. Rosh Hashanah takes its importance from the teaching of the Kabbalists, who teach the God's desire for a world is predicted on our offerings to Him and our worship of Him. Through ritualized prayer and actions through the day, we are able to give these offerings, gratitudes, and desires. The use of food is highly symbolic. Most of the food will be sweet, to ask for a sweet year to come. On the first day of Rosh Hashanah, bread, typically round, called challah, loaves with raisins, will be dipped into honey. These are accompanied with special blessings. Also, heads of sheep or rams are consumed and symbolize the desire to be at the head and not the tail of things. Other symbolic foods include pomegranates and a sweet carrot-based dish. There are also foods that are not to be consumed, like nuts. It is important to the Jewish tradition to stay away from anything that reminds them of sin. Like Christmas, New Year's has become something non-religious affiliated in today's culture. There could be Jews and Christians alike celebrating the new year together nowadays. It is important to remember that this term encompasses many religions that can differ widely on traditions and food symbolism. Therefore, it is difficult to compare the Christian New Year to Rosh Hashanah. A common point of comparison, though, can be Advent. It is a time for thoughtful prayer, for rededication, supplication, and devotion. There are some faiths that find it necessary to fast during this time, usually for a type of food, for example, candy or meat. This purpose is to focus your thoughts on what God gave up in letting His Son die on the cross. Another common item found during Advent is the Advent calendar. There are many reproductions of these calendars, and many have become secular in their meaning, focusing more on getting a piece of chocolate every day, but they can include small biblical verses to help you lead up to the celebration of the birth of Christ. Other foods have ties to the cultures they were built around, including roasts from Scotland, cookies from Poland, and chicken and cheese enchiladas from Central America. Food has an important role in life. It is what gives us the sustenance we need to be able to live. It is no surprise, then, that food becomes incorporated in the traditions we have, like celebrating the beginning of a new year. Food can become highly symbolic, as in the meanings found during Rosh Hashanah, or a matter of convenience as found in the adaptations for Advent. It still remains that food brings people together, an important ingredient when it comes to worship and Thanksgiving during these important holidays.